You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. You always thought that you were weak, but babe, you're wrong. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. You shouldn't doubt yourself, 'cause you're a work of art. You should know that you are perfect with those flaws. Yeah, you better step into the light, just give it a try. Know that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine, shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine. You're stronger than the others think. And who cares if you might mess it up? Shine. Go ahead and shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine, shine, darling. Go ahead and shine, my dear. 'Cause who cares if you might mess it up? Just shine.
Hello, welcome to Straight Talk with Sally. We are on our podcast batching day. We've had an amazing guest, Sarah Groth, and now we are kicking off this episode with the amazing Jackie Ashley. Now, if you are enjoying Straight Talk with Sally, oh, hello, wrong camera. Hi, we better swap cameras, hey? Let's do that. We've probably got a few scenes like that, so just wait and see. This is what happens when I decide to go inside and have lunch and not check my scenes. Anyway, we've had the amazing Sarah and we have Jackie as well coming up. But if you have not yet done so, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube and you hit the subscribe button, then a little dance party happens on here inside of Ecamm. That's the software that I'm using. And if you want to make sure you never miss a live event, then ding dong, go to this one down here. And also if you want live reminders about Straight Talk with Sally so that you don't miss coming in to the lives, then scan the QR code behind Dr. Sparkle there and you can get registered for reminders there. Mars dropped us some purple hearts. Catherine says, yay, woohoo. All right. So, oh, wrong button there, Sally. Wrong button. Today's episode, we are going to be chatting with an amazing lady. She's an Australian woman who's a wife and a mother, not just an experienced coach, but also a really, really successful entrepreneur. She loves people. She loves living with people, being around people, and yes, working with people. She's definitely a people person. Over the years, she has become an expert in understanding why we do what it is that we do. What's going on up here in the grey matter? The way we think, the way we react, and all the things that can dramatically shift the way we live our lives and the way we get results in our life. Today, she serves what she describes as heart-centered entrepreneurs. And that's what we do too. And that's probably why I also hired her to be on our team. But people, honestly, this lady is the type of person who would see somebody sad in the street, sit down beside them and go, "Are you okay?" Because she really does care about people that much. So for those who really want to feel a real connection with themselves and understand more about the people around us, then let me introduce you to the amazing, the fabulous Jackie Ashley. Woo! Hey, Jackie!
Hey, Sally!
I'm
Thank you
so
for
happy to
having
have you
me
on
here.
Straight Talk with Sally.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And I love that song.
I know, right?
So,
Even though it's your son's favourite song, I know this, right? I'm surprised
Yes,
you're not sick of it yet.
No, I actually got out of my chair and I'm standing because I had to dance to it.
Oh, excellent. I love it. I love it. I mean, we do spend a lot of time together, you and I, but honestly, those viewers out there, if you haven't met the amazing Jackie Ashley yet, like seriously, this woman is amazing. Now, before we get into talking about our topic today, which is the science behind manifestation and, you know, what really works around it, I'd love for you to share your story about, you know, why it is that you do what it is that you do. And my camera's decided it wants to die of all the times. So this isn't good. I think it's because my heater's decided that it wants to, hang on, I've got to turn off my heater.
Oh, no, we can't see the beautiful Sally
I
face.
know. It's because I
Oh.
was. Look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you steal the show for a minute while my camera decides to work again. Jackie, why don't you share what it is that you do?
Okay, so I am a mindset and confidence coach. I help leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, companies, and their teams to really overcome mindset barriers so that they can achieve their dreams and live their dreams. You know, I think we all deserve to do that. So I'm really
Why?
excited, and
Why did you
Why?
start the whole mindset coach thing? I mean, you've been doing this for about 15 years. What was the thing that made you realize that this was the path you wanted to go down?
Actually, before I started coaching, I actually had a recruitment business, recruiting business with one of my business partners. We were recruiting lawyers around the world. And before that, I've always been a people's person. I've worked in hospitality, worked in sales, guest relations. So, you know, I've always had that in me to want to serve people, right? And, you know, and I started this when I started our own recruitment business, coaching lawyers around the world. You know, it was just another area where I could really help people, you know, help them to find the perfect role for them, you know. And I was doing it for a few years in that role. And I was also noticing that I was just coaching some of my candidates informally. So one weekend, actually, at a personal development seminar that I attended, I just, you know, there was some coaches there, and I got to experience what a coach and how a coach helps their clients. And I really loved the transformation, the you know, the the results. And I got my own results from hiring a coach myself. And I thought, yes, this is what I wanted to do. So we had a recruitment business. I thought, this is what we're going to add to our business to create even more value for our candidates. So it's not just about placing them in roles, but really understanding, what is it that drives them to go from this role to this role, right? So that actually sparked my coaching journey. And I loved it so much that, when I got pregnant, I decided to take a bit of a break. And I part ways with my business partner, love it a bit, and really want to focus on my coaching. And so I got my coaching certificate in 2008, and want to make sure that I got certified, and 2010. And since then I just have been coaching because I love it. It's just been, I have had various different careers all my life in hospitalities, recruitment, sales, but really stuck to this because I found my calling.
You
And
did. You are so good at it. I mean, I am very privileged to be a fly on the wall to watch you coach every single week our clients. And just watching the transformations that you make in their lives is incredible. And I mean, I went and studied to become a pro life coach, 3 years of study and all the things. But like, I wanted frameworks to be able to help people. But I mean, the way you give me sexy numbers, automation, marketing, all that stuff. It's my flow, right? I get in there and time goes. But helping people the way you do, honestly, I just cannot do and love it the way I see you light up and inspire. I have to say, guys, when I watch Jackie work with one person to the next person, the way she can shift, even her personality, the way she can shift and move into the way each client speaks differently and perceives the world differently, and to understand them all at that unique individual level is just, it's amazing to watch, honestly. I am so lucky to be able to sit in the background and watch, and I'm so glad that you found your way into the sparkle world. It was a referral, wasn't it, from Keep, I believe?
Yes, exactly. Actually, I was looking for automation. I needed automation help. I was overwhelmed, didn't know what to do, how to put things into place. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so not good at this. I just want to do what I want to do. I just want to help people. And I found you, Sally. I'm so happy I found you. And you put all my life back together again. Which I'm really happy.
I know. And then honestly, and then being able to work with you, and we're more than just, working together. I believe we've really become friends now. And I mean, I adore your kids, and I finally got to meet them for the first time a couple of weeks ago. And I just booked my tickets last night to come back to Sydney and see you. Yay. Well, I mean, we could sit here and chat we do, actually, we chat a lot, but we're here today to really talk about manifestation. Now, I mean, people hear this word manifesting and they think, oh, it's a bit woohoo. Is it like The Secret and you just drive around a car park and go, I'm going to get a park at the front of the shops? Yeah, right. Cross your fingers and, and all. So... So some people do think of that when they, hear the word manifestation and all the woohoo. But why don't you help us define what is manifestation and also what isn't it?
Well, okay, let's be honest here. You can call it whatever it is, manifesting, but really what it is, it's really priming your mind, your body, your soul, everything of you to priming your mind to help you to take the steps so that you can achieve what you want. Really, that's really what manifestation is about. It's about your thoughts. It's about what you want. It's about priming the brain to really focusing on the things that you want and bring it into your reality. Now, it's not just, meditating it and hoping it comes. Manifestation is more than that. It's about focusing on the right things, focusing on the things that you want, but also taking inspired action as well. Now, if you want to manifest quicker and get more results in your life, there is actually a science behind it. It's not actually woohoo, but the word seems to make it all woohoo. But I mean, I am a bit of a woohoo because I do love that spirituality and all that. But so do you, Sally.
I know. We do.
We do. But simply, really, what it is manifesting is really priming your brain priming your brain and your body to making the things that you want into reality, and using certain mindset tools, right, consistently to help you to achieve it a lot quicker.
What would you
Right.
say are some of
So,
the important tools that you would help people with?
okay. So, well, let me explain a little bit of science behind this
Yes,
first
bring
before
the
we get into
science,
the
baby. Bring the
Ah,
science.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
because when you understand really how this works, right, then you're gonna like, okay, I see. You're gonna want to practice this a lot more. So, according to quantum physics, okay, everything is made up of matter. And if you observe that even the body, we human beings are made up of matter and energy. I did do a little bit of biology in the past, but I'm so fascinated about this. So I did my research and I was looking at various different books to read up, and it's quite scientific. So I'm trying to break this down in the most simplest way that you can totally understand. And really, what that means is that when you observe matter under a microscope, you will see that there are atoms, protons, neutrons, and electrons around it, and eventually waves. Okay, so which means matter arises from wave energy. So everything is made out of atom, right? At least anything, everything. So our body is essentially made up of matter energy, and matter is made up of molecules, which is a group of atoms bonding together, really. So we are basically energy moving around, fluctuating, electricity as well. So science also shows that our thoughts that we think, focused thoughts actually, causes energy to condense and become matter. So this is why there's a proven that there's proof between the thoughts and the matter. So basically, um, atoms have energy, and they're all drawn atoms together in a very similar composition. That's the word. So if you look at this as like the concept of like attracts like, okay? So what you focus on is what you attract. And we're really talking about the reticular activating system. Like, have you ever, let me ask you this, have you ever thought of something, right? And then all of a sudden it turns up around you, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That is your reticular activating system working at its best. So, our thoughts are electric, and our emotions are magnetic, and together they make an electromagnetic field around our body. And when we think of thoughts, that electromagnetic field carries the information, which sends out information to the outside. So, every feeling that we have, every thought that we have, carries informations to ourselves, to our bodies. And so that's how our cells get affected and change the way it moves our physical body, our mind. And, actually, this is fascinating that our cells are not the same cells as we were 10 years. It's constantly changing depending on
Mm.
your thoughts, which is
Mm-hmm.
quite interesting. So, how does this affect the results. And how do we get our results a lot quicker? Well, really simply is about really thinking about what it is that you want, why you want it, right? And every emotions also have like a energy around it, right? A magnetic vibration around it. Positive and negative emotions all vibrate actually at different levels as well. So it's not that, your body knows it's positive or negative, but if you keep feeling the feelings of negative feelings, your body starts to think that, um, that comes up often. This is why some people don't get the results that they want, because they're constantly feeling the results. They're focused on the things that they do not want, and they've also feelings attached to that as well. So when you do that every single day, it almost becomes habitual. So I mean, like, it's almost like you're going to work and you just know automatically how to get there. So your body starts to feel that feeling of that. Your cells starts to vibrate, fire together, just like those feelings. So if you want to change your outcome, right, you must change your thoughts, your thinking, your feelings, so that it affects your cells. So your cells vibrate differently. The information that you sent out is different, so that you can attract, because we are a magnet, right? The earth is a magnetic
Yeah.
thing. We are human beings, you know, we have polar opposite, North Pole, South Pole, but even us, we have north and south, and we also are a magnetic being. We're attracting things. So the thing is, if you're constantly focused on the things that you're not wanting, you might want something, but you don't believe you can't get it. You're constantly focused on the things of the not having. Then again, you're vibrating at a different level, so they're not aligned, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to keep, and if you want to change, you need to. Me, it's not about fixing; it's about creating.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? It's really focusing on the things that you want, and so the tools that I use to help you to get there, right, is one, take inspired action. Know why you want this thing, because when you understand your why, it's a really big motivation for you to want to get that. And it has to feel right. If for any moment you have a resistance in yourself, that amygdala kicks in, the flight or fight response kicks in, goes,
Yes.
dump it into the bin, right?
It's
So
that
you will,
amygdala is so tiny but so powerful, right?
I know, right?
Oh,
Exactly. So, if you want to get the results a lot quicker, there are tools that you need to do. And this is not a once off meditate today and it's going to come. No, this is like, you want to lose weight, you have to do exercise every day. This is an everyday thing that you do. And what I call the mindset gym, right? And you need to work at it. You need to keep focusing on what you want, and also visualize what you want. So when you visualize and you see yourself doing the thing over and over again, and the feelings of having achieved, when you achieve that thing over and over again, what happens is two things. Your brain, right, likes to scan images, and when it sees things that you haven't done, it gets like the fight response kicks in, right? But if you're constantly imagining this over and over again, what it does, it starts to see, oh, she's done it before. Starts to put it in more of a comfort zone. But not only that, what it does is that activates your reticular activating system in your brain, right? And then the antennas start to work, and you start to see things working towards your goal.
yeah.
And of course, taking inspired action is important, right? That is one of the key elements to this, is taking inspired action. So when you start to think and feel of the things that you want, you're you're sending certain information to your cells as well. And when the cells are understanding that, they vibrate very differently, they communicate very differently, right? And so you're attracting those things that you want more into your life. But you also have to know what it is that you want, and understand how it feels to have that. It has to be aligned as well in the action. So that's really what manifestation is about. And there actually, Sally, did you know there's been a lot of research done around how this actual works, like the intentions that we have on focusing on the things that we want. I don't know if you've heard of a researcher called what's his name? Rene Pioch. Okay, he
Mm.
had an interesting outcome, and I read this in one of the books. An experiment that he did that involved a robot, which was just roaming around in a like a little room, in like a box room, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
aimlessly wandering around. And then when caged, um, and then when there's a cage full of live chicks was brought in, the chicks imprinted on the robot as if it was their mother. And the robot started spending more time in the areas that was closer to the chicks. So Pioch concluded that the intention of the chicks to stay close to the robot caused the robot to manifest a dramatic change in the robot's movements.
Wow. Yeah. You were talking about like the Earth, right? We all know the Earth has magnetic fields because you have a compass and it points north, right, to the magnetic fields. And but when you start to sort of bring it further down to us as humans and how we have, I mean, it just gives me goosebumps talking about all of this sort of stuff. It's so fascinating that, we also extrude energy. And, when somebody walks into a room, or like my husband will be really shitty, but he'll smile and say, I'm not shitty. But he is, right? Because you can feel it. I remember as a kid, we always knew when Dad got home from work and if he was in a bad mood, he didn't have to throw anything or say anything, but you could just feel it, right? When you're around somebody like that, or you get that it's like a bad feeling when somebody is around you at different times, and then a more of a positive connection, attraction feeling around other people. And when you started explaining how the Earth is magnetic, and then I started, drilling it down to like the cells, right? The little atoms, and you watch on all of those TV shows, you watch them all dance around like this and the energy waves. I mean, there is a lot of science behind it. When I was younger, I went in and had one of those ones where they put all the little dots over your head. And
Yes,
not an MRI, it's something else.
ECG.
Yeah, because they thought I had epilepsy. So they put all of those things over my brain, and it's all measured by waves, right, to see what's going on inside your brain. So I get how, the way we think then continues to react through the rest of our body. And I know if I'm in an environment that I'm not comfortable with, the vibration that I'm feeling through my body is so different than if I'm in a supportive environment and around those people that I guess resonate well with my energy versus, I guess you could kind of say, people that don't believe. I guess that's why we tend to attract a lot of the woohoo people. We all vibrate, I guess, at a similar kind of frequency, right?
Well, like attracts likes, and this is how it works that way, right?
Mm,
So, when you're thinking a certain thinking and you're feeling a certain thing, actually, it's not that it's negative and positive because the
yeah.
body doesn't really, but it's just what you feel all the time. And that feeling has a certain energy about it. It has, certain information, a field around that, and that attracts to other energy. And that's really what this is all about, is that we're all energies communicating, at the same time. So, no wonder, when you have someone coming in the room, you can almost feel that connection because we are energetic beings, you know. We are energetic, meaning we're made of matter and energy and lots of water, of course, in our body, right?
Well, water helps electrical currents flow faster.
Yeah. So, it's so really what manifestation is all about is just making your thoughts become reality and helping your body and your mind and everything prepare to bringing everything to you really in the reality.
Yeah. It,
That's really what manifestation really
yeah.
is all
A bit of
about.
the be do have, right? If you believe that you are, even, like I always believed that the sparkle world would be successful, even when my mum would say, just stop working so much, put your husband's socks on and look after him better. But I'm like, I believe this thing is going to be so amazing that I'm going to hire a housekeeper to clean the house so my husband's happy. And guess what? 5 years later, I have one. 5 days a week, she comes and cleans. But I always believed that I would. There wasn't a doubt. I would say occasionally when you go through burnout and, the doubts flood in, but they're only fleeting when you truly believe. And it's not easy to continue to believe when bad things happen. What would you say to somebody who's like, oh, it's easier said than done?
Like I say, if you do it once, is it going to happen? No. You brush your teeth every day for a reason, right?
Mm,
Because you know that if you only brush your teeth once, you're not going to get clean teeth, but you have to brush your teeth every single day, right?
yeah,
So the believing is really about consistently doing the things that you need to do also to make it happen. And that's what helps you to kick. And that's the problem with a lot of people is they tried once and they're like, it didn't work. Of course it
mm-hmm,
doesn't work because you only gave it one go. But the thing is, this isn't a one thing, meditate on it, it'll come. This is a everyday practice. This is an everyday practice. Have clarity on what you want. Visualize it. Be grateful because when you're in and there is actually a process in how to get into gratitude. When you're in a state of gratitude, you are actually in a state of receiving because emotions have a different frequency. And so you will receive more. So you get into gratitude and action with it. And that really is important. And you do this every single day, right? But the other thing that I've learned, which is key to manifesting, um, is that it is, call it surrender or the knowing.
mm,
Knowing that whatever you think of, it will come. You must believe it, that it will come. But the problem for a lot of people is that when they realize it's not coming right now, they get stressed. And so they go back to the focus of not having. And so then they're focused on the things that they don't have. And so what's happening is they're having the opposite effect because then they go back to focusing on, I don't have this and this. And there's a whole spiral around that thought, that looping thought, right? But then you've got to come back to the challenge is coming back to, all right, what is it that I want? What is that I want? And knowing that it is coming and then just surrender to the process. Now, setting goals is still important, right? Is knowing that I want to achieve it by this, but letting go of the stress of when. Because when you do that,
mm-hmm.
that's what's going to help you. First of all, it's going to feel a lot better when you're not stressing about when it's coming, right?
Yes.
And that helps you get your results a lot quicker. So
Yeah.
that knowing and that surrender to the process really is one of the keys to kind of letting it happen and then doing the consistent actions every day, inspired actions to take you there.
Yeah.
There are going to be certain exercise or actions that may not be as enjoyable. However, at the end of the day, this is really a journey. Success really is about a journey. So make it as enjoyable as you can throughout
Yeah.
this.
Oh, amen. Seriously. Like success, business, it's got to be fun. You've got to enjoy the journey, because I don't think the journey ever ends,
No,
right?
and yeah, there's going to be challenges. Not kid us wrong. It is normal to have negative and positive emotions. Like there is a lot of up and down, so is negative and positive emotions. We actually need we
Yeah.
having negative emotions isn't a bad thing, because we use it as what I call your internal GPS system to guide you, to let
Mm-hmm.
you know whether you're on track or not. So that's the
Yeah.
indication. But it's really how you manage your emotions that is really, really important, because you don't want to be having spikes like this, up and then really down lows. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to have this consistently. And when you have the right mindset, right mindset, and you're practicing these mindset tools every single day, what you'll find is you'll be able to manage your emotions a lot easier and quicker,
Yeah.
and you're also going to achieve your results a lot quicker as well.
Mm-hmm. I've watched the way you work with people, and how they start off with imposter syndrome, and it comes up constantly for them. And I think having a coach like yourself, and our clients are super lucky because they get you every week, but having somebody to point you back when you lose your way, I think is also important, because it's not easy, and it is so hard doing, especially entrepreneurs, and coaches. We're so driven by wanting to help others that also we can forget about ourselves along the way, because we're so driven to help other people. And then that's where you start to get lost. You start to forget your why, because you're so focused externally on helping others that internally you can get drained. I know when I was doing a lot of coaching, when I was getting certified, whoa, like it's so super draining what you do, right? Like I know when I was going through it, they're telling me you've got to put up this kind of separation, but I'm very intuitive, and I feel so much for my
Yeah.
clients. I think about them, I dream about them, I'm always wanting to help them. But you're at that emotional level with them. Like you would personally have to continuously be doing your own internal things to continue to be able to keep up the energy that you do. I don't know how you don't get so tired doing what you do the way you do, because it's an amazing everyone's got a gift. You definitely have a gift when it comes to helping people. What would you say to somebody who's okay, I see what you're saying here, I have to think it, I've got to practice it all the time to manifest it, so the emotional roller coaster of life and success. What are some, I guess, actionable steps that you could recommend people to do on a daily basis that they could, journal out? Or what is the things that you would recommend that somebody who's just stepping into this realization that if it's going to be, it's up to them, that you would recommend they do?
Okay. So this is what I recommend you do. Have a journal first, right? Have a journal, and you'll use this journal. This is this is part of the framework, actually, my magic mindset framework. So I'm sharing you some of the tools that I use. So every morning, I don't get out of bed until I'm actually in the space that I want to be. And I meditate and then visualize. And then I write in my journal what it is that I want. What is the goal that I want? Because what that does, and writing is so powerful, because the science behind it is that when you're writing, you're creating new neural pathways as you're writing. Now try this. Try typing that goal and try writing, because when you do it, you'll notice the difference between the two,
Mm.
right? We're activating very different parts of our brain. So writing down your goal. I journal morning and night. I write down what it is that I want. I write down what is it that I feel, What is that I want to feel? What is coming? I write as if it's happened, and I'm so grateful that it's happening. I write 3 things that I'm grateful for today because it takes me into the state of gratitude, right? Because when you're sometimes in anxiety, it's really hard to kind of suddenly switch. So what happens is if you think of something that you could be totally grateful for, and I put my hand on my heart because there's a certain connection and you can tell there's a difference, and you do that. And when you do that, you get into the state of gratitude and you write down 3 things that you're grateful for, because when you start to do that, you're switching your state. Okay. And that's what we want to do, is to get you to a different state, right? Which will allow you to perform better at the end of the day, right? And so writing down 3 things that you're grateful for. And these are the 2 things that I do every single day. Meditate, visualize. So when I meditate, visualize in the morning, I do the opposite in the evening. I go from visualization to meditation, because it's also, now this is a whole nother episode of podcast here, because now we're talking about the brain waves, but it takes us to different states. Okay, but that writing that down again, what it is that I want, how do I want tomorrow to be? And before I go to bed, I'm like, tomorrow I'll wake up this. We're priming the brain constantly. And this is what we're doing. We're priming the brain, the body, right, to create physically and mentally what it is that we want to create. And you can't do it without actually physically and doing the action that you need to do this. You need to, this is needs to be done consistently and every single day, even though you can't see the results yet, but it is coming. And it's so amazing, because this morning today is so funny, because one of my clients was having a tough time, but then she says, oh my gosh, but just out of all that, Jackie, I just got the job that I applied for. I said, I guess the manifestation is starting to happen. I'm like, yeah, girl, just keep going and know that it is coming, right? So it may not come yet, but it will come if you keep moving and you keep going, you take the action, and you keep writing in those journals as well.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to know a little bit more about this magic thing. Tell me a little bit more about this magic framework that you just shared.
Yes, my magic mindset framework is really, really simple. The M, Doug, I'm sharing this about my program now. And my challenge is coming up soon, so this is perfect timing. But my M, so MEM, is really understanding this is the map of the world. Everyone sees the world very differently. And this affects our communication, our thinking, etc. M also stands for understanding what it is that you want in your reality. Mapping out also your world. Okay. A, first thing key to change is awareness. Understanding where you are now and where you need to be. G is grow your mindset. So this is where I teach you, the difference between fix and growth and how to grow your mindset. I is inspired action. And I love to say, Sally, you say all the time, which I've stolen your words, so thank you. Imperfect action. Imperfect, inspired action is what I like to say.
Yeah.
The actions that you need to take to reach your goal, right? And then C, right? Consistently have the courage to create this consistently as well. So the key habits that you need to take on to get the results consistently.
I love that. And that it's building the muscle, right? It's like
Yes.
exercising. When you start,
Yes.
it's hard. You
Yeah.
know, when you're training, not that I've ever done it and I probably will never do it, but like if you're training for a marathon, you can't run that 20 kilometers when you start. You have to practice, consistently train to get there. And the brain is a muscle. And when you continuously practice ways of thinking, ways of being, then you can control the way you think and feel. Now, that doesn't mean that that crazy little amygdala isn't going to fire crazy feelings and that occasionally. But I love how before you mentioned it's in, the knowing and being aware. And then I always like to call it like I'm the captain of my ship. Like I'm driving my own boat, right? And I got all these little itty bitty shitty committees and people trying to tell me to go off this way and go off that way and all the emotional turmoil that comes up. But I'm like, nah, I'm driving my boat. I'm heading towards that horizon, that island over there. And occasionally people try to grab the wheel and pull you off course, that internal pain in the butt, little itty bitty shitty committee. But you got to flick them off. And nobody else can do that but you. And it begins with understanding that you have the power within you. And I remember through my certification, a coach doesn't tell you so much what to do. They just help you find what's already within you, but just might be lost under all of those things. And the other thing you mentioned was, negative and positive emotions. Well, we need both, because if the world was rainbows, unicorns and sunshine all the time, it would just be like another day. We need the rain and, we need the thunder and the lightning. We need all of that to appreciate the beautiful rainbow when it's in front of us.
Yes.
And hey, when it rains, it helps other things grow, right? I think,
and we need that to get us back on track to where we want to go.
you said that internal GPS. If we didn't feel that something was wrong, then how would we know if we were off course?
Correct.
Some people, though, will feel that feeling and they'll stay in it. And they'll start to blame the feeling.
Yes. Or they blame everything else. So here's the other thing, right? Where are you, the driver's seat or you're in the passenger seat, right?
Yeah.
You want to drive your boat or your car because you then have control of your destiny.
Yes.
But if you leave it to someone else, you will never be in control of that.
Yeah.
So you've got to learn to take responsibility.
Exactly. Like even relationships, business, people we surround ourselves with. There was a huge learning I had in my 30s when my husband and I had, we'd grown a child to, teenage years, and it was all of a sudden we realized, hey, we're not just parents, we're individuals. And we had spent so much time caring for everybody else, and my husband was my world and our daughter was our world. And then we realized, oh shit, we're actually individual people. And a huge learning I got through that, and us arguing and all the things, and then being both, luckily he's a bit of a snag, right? He's a sensitive new age guy, as they used to say back in the 90s. He's been brought up by two amazing women who are very self-aware. He was self-aware as well and happy to go to therapy and to sort everything out. It just took us a couple of sessions. But that's when I realized that my partner in life, in, family, can't be my everything. That's why I have you, Jackie. You're part of me, right? Like, I couldn't have these sorts of conversations with my husband. I can't talk business with him. And when you're aware of your own internal GPS and you start to stop and listen to it occasionally, it's amazing when you start to open yourself up to not just being a victim of circumstance. Yeah.
Correct. And the other thing is surround yourself with the right people.
Oh, huge. Yes.
Because that is one of the key things too, is that, when you surround yourself around people who have the same values as you, or who are, at a stage in their life where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
that will inspire you even more to move forward. So if you're not happy with the people that are around you, I would change them.
Yeah.
You're not happy with the results that you currently have. Look at the people that you're currently with too. And I would suggest change your friends too,
It
and
can be
surround,
hard, right? Letting
yeah,
go of people because they're friends or even family, right? Like letting go of people because there's a feeling as though you have to continue to be in that situation. In my 20s, I went through a phase and started to disassociate myself from the people who were living a life that I didn't actually want. They were still nice people, but their drive for success wasn't there. They just wanted to work out how to get paid the doll check, right? Or how to rort the system. So I didn't have to work. And that was all right for a couple of years, but eventually I wanted more. A holiday to them was going to the border of a state. And I wanted more for myself. And I think who out there, to be totally honest, if you think about the people you're surrounded with, is there some people in your life that you're like, I'm only staying their friend because of the feeling like I have to?
yeah.
Who says you have to?
There's strength in also learning to let go.
Mm,
Because friendship can come and go, sometimes a season, sometimes for a reason. And it's not to say you can still be friends with them. However, I do encourage you to surround yourself and spend more time
mm-hmm.
with those that are really going to inspire you and help you to be the person that you want to be at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
The results that you want to get.
Well, there's that saying, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
You are, right?
Yeah.
So
And
choose
some of
wisely.
those people don't have to be physically in your presence. Because I remember
No.
when I first started, I used to listen to Shalene Johnson on repeat and Amy Porterfield on repeat and Valerie Burton on repeat. And I didn't have a lot of entrepreneurial friends and support when I first started. I didn't really know anyone because everybody in my family have all been workers. My dad might own a business, but he's still a business owner who's a worker. And I'd never been around entrepreneurs before. So I didn't know where to find them. And so I listened to them. I went into their world and I fell asleep with Amy and Shalene in my ears so many nights. And they were one of my 5. And, now they're people that I get to talk to, which is really cool. Who would have guessed? Got to interviewed them, and Pat Flynn we got to interview the other day. Again, another person that I used to fall asleep with listening to. So if you don't have anyone in your circle, create your own. Even some of those people may never know who you are. One day Oprah will know who I am. Just saying.
Yes, you will.
Oprah
Manifestation.
literally saved my life when I was young. She literally saved my life and has no idea. And I think I love that. Take perspective of your friendships and those. When I went to a conference, it would have been back in about 2015, and this was the first time I ever heard about Valerie Burton. And she had mentioned the surrounding yourself with your 5, but she said, choose your 5 with intention. So, and nurture them wisely. So when you choose your 5, it's not just about choosing them, but you've also got to nurture that relationship, that thing that you have with them. And that really, really hit home for me. And I think probably that's why, I get to teach inside Shalene's world now, is because I continued to nurture that relationship that she didn't even know we had together. And then one day they reached out and said, hey, do you want to teach inside of our program? So, yeah, choose your 5 with intention, and they'll come and they'll go. And we all have friends that have come and gone, but they've all taught us something along the way as well. Even those people that I was with way back in my early 20s, I learned so much from. Yeah. We've totally gone off topic, Jackie. You know we're good at that.
As we always do. However, no, this is all a part of achieving the results that you want,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at the end of the day. And this is how you do it, you know?
Yeah. I love that you brought the scientific stuff to this conversation as well, because I know a lot of people out there think the woohoo side when they hear the word manifesting, or they've watched The Secret, right? And I remember when I first heard about manifesting, and I was out with some family members, and they said, oh, you want a car park up the front? You've just got to think about it. And then I'm like, yeah, well, this is just a little bit too far-fetched for me. Just think there'll be a car park at the front, and there'll be a car park at the front just because you think it. Or, you know, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm just going to think it. And I'm like, but you've still got it, like you said, the action, imperfect action. You can think it all you want and you can believe it. But I would say that those who think it and don't take action, I would have a guess that internally they still don't yet believe it.
No, they don't.
Yeah. It's a different feeling, right? When you finally realize that you have control over your own thoughts and feelings. It's like an awakening.
You're freeing yourself.
Yeah. You surrender, right?
Yeah,
you're surrendering to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we could talk about this for ages. We do talk about this stuff.
We do talk about this
hours and hours alone just talking about these types of things. And I think, well, again, choosing one of your 5, you are one of my 5, Miss Jackie Ashley.
And you are one of mine too. Hey, even as coaches, we have coaches, yeah?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
You know,
psychologists, therapists, coaches, all the things.
Therapists, there's nothing wrong to go and getting help when you need it and when you want it. And actually, it's a preventative rather than a reactive. You know, this is about you looking after yourself and staying at peak performance and also getting the results that you want. So it's planning ahead. You know, speaking to the right people that you need to help you to get the results that you want at the end of the day.
So true. Yeah, so true. I remember when I first saw my very first therapist, it was a counselor. I was at uni. I was in my 30s, had returned to uni. My mum, my nan, everyone before me had all been mums, right? My mum worked for a little bit before having kids, but after that, they were mums. And what I was doing was very different from what I had been brought up in. And then it was like mother's guilt kicked in, feeling guilty because I was at uni having to take 2 trains there and back, and then arguing with my husband because the house was messy, that I took up the opportunity at the university to go and see a counsellor because it was free, and I knew I was internally like all these horrible feelings of anxiousness and nervousness, but knowing I wanted to be there, but also feeling so guilty. And only 2 sessions with her, but she said to me that the fact that you've come and knocked on the door and asked for help, that shows resilience, awareness, strength, exactly. Because most people don't. And as, somebody who speaks to people on a regular basis, she says it takes that courage to say, I need help. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who is thinking to themselves now, I need help. What would you say to them?
I would say, here's the thing. Sometimes we also have to think of the worst scenario if we don't get help, or the worst situation to make us move, right? And if you think about the worst situation, when you hit rock bottom, you've got to move. So, you can stay where you're at, but if you keep doing what you're doing, nothing's going to change. And think about what's going to happen is your subconscious mind will bring to you unresolved issues, and it will keep coming back to you. And if you don't deal with it, it'll come back to you 10 times for worse. So if you don't want to stay where you're at and you want to get out of the situation, right, just take that one call, and you'll be surprised at how much help that can be. There are so many, whether it's calling a friend or, there's so many different toll-free numbers that you can call now for mental health, just to talk to someone, and get a different perspective as well, because that is also a key too.
Yeah. I think when we get so stuck, and I mean, when, there are some devastating aspects of when people don't get help, right? And, I'm sure people have known people. I mean, I've been, close friends with people who don't get help. And the funny thing is they always looked okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? They may show you, but I also now have a habit of asking people, how are you doing? How are you really doing?
Daddy does
and
that
for
to
me,
me all the time. He says, I've always
yeah.
got to ask you 3 times to get the truth, because I am a, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yeah.
Actually, this happened.
And there's strength in saying, you know what, I am not okay. I've had a massive, I would say, learning hit me in the recent last month. And this is when I came in and say, yeah, I actually need help,
Yeah.
and have the strength to go and ask for help, and find people that you can talk to, or anyone, but do something.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
definitely.
you don't think about, you think about your family, how it can affect your family if you've got children, etc. Find a way to make you move, because when something drastic, you will move for something, right?
Yeah.
If someone puts a threat, knife to my neck and say, you do this, or to my children, I'm going to be running off doing the things right straight away, right?
100%, yes. Yeah. Jackie, we could talk about this all day. We've gone off onto all kinds of tangents. I know. We're into all kinds of deep and meaningful conversations here. We're going to have to do more of these. I think more of these sort of open-ended discussions around the mind. Seriously, it's such a powerful part. And you'd listen to any successful person, whether, it's Bill Gates or my brain's just gone, Gary V, like anyone who is really successful, they will all tell you the same thing, that the mindset work is a consistent thing. It never stops. It's the thing you need to be. It's 80% mindset.
Yep. Every day.
To be able to, especially as entrepreneurs, because it's a lonely road. It can be a lonely road, and it's definitely not the easiest. That's working for somebody else, right?
Unless you join the Sparkle community.
Yes. You're never alone in the Sparkle world. They're literally sitting in a computer screen over there right now. I can see them all. Okay, so let's move into the Sparkle questions. What's one thing that you wish you had known before you began your career?
Oh my gosh, this one I can't. Oh wow. Okay, you hit me in that one. I wished I knew more about personal development actually at an earlier stage.
It
Really,
should be taught in schools.
it should be taught.
More like
Right.
maths and English is a
Yeah, more.
requirement. There should
I
be a
agree.
mindset class in
Yep.
schools that is compulsory, like
Right.
math and English.
Yep.
Could you
Yep.
imagine the world?
So different. The
Oh,
energy, so different, right? I teach my 4-year-old. He knows about meditation.
I
We
hear
do
you say to
meditation.
your daughter every night, go
Yeah,
and
have you done
meditate. Every night before bed,
Are you doing visualization and meditation? Journals?
I know. But
Yeah.
oh my God, like I got goosebumps all over. Seriously, could you imagine if it was compulsory like math and English? Wow. What a
Well,
world.
I think we need to make this happen, honestly.
Oh my God.
It has to start happening. It starts from the teachers and schools and,
At home.
yeah.
I mean, it's something, I mean, this is like a whole,
Home, at home, parents out there, please.
exactly.
If you have young children, it starts from you as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it does.
Yeah.
The
But if
gift
you don't
of
have
giving.
parents that are self-aware, like I love my dad. I love my dad. But he's very smart. He has a very high IQ, not a very high EQ,
Yeah.
right? And if you're brought up in certain ways and in certain environments, that can be very hard. It's like trying to change generations of inbuilt things that have been passed down through generation, through generation, through generation. I mean, I wouldn't even know, how would you even get something like that through? Like, to make it a compulsory thing. Imagine if it was, though. There'd probably be less wars. There'd be less violence.
Right.
There's so many things could change if only it was taught as early as the first day, like at home. But then, if it was taught through schools, it would be normal to teach kids at home. It's like I remember getting super excited when my daughter could say the alphabet. Right, we're teaching those sorts of things before school. These things should also be taught. Oh, there goes my camera again.
Oh, there doesn't. No, they are starting, however, not enough. Really,
Yeah,
it starts from primary school.
it is,
The
right?
0 to 7 years of age and the 7 to 12, all these modeling ages within the kids is so important. These is the key age to really to instill the foundations, and that's where it needs to be educated then.
Yeah, those first 7 years, those first
Yeah.
7 to 9 years, how many people have started mindset work and then realized all the crazy goes back to our childhood?
Yeah.
It all
Sometimes even before that, genealogical, because of the cells.
Oh, darling, I have watched
Right?
you do
It is not
timeline
connected.
therapy and people going back into past lives. That's how deeply ingrained it is into people.
Yeah,
It's
because your
crazy.
cell stores memories.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Next sparkle question. I know. I'm like looking at the clock. I do have a 3 o'clock, and I'm like, I could talk to you for hours.
I
Oh, we
think-
do, but okay. Is everybody out there enjoying this? Are you enjoying this? Let us know in the chat. Okay, so my next question for you is, what is because we've all got lots, but what's a big failure that you've had that then you later on look back at that you really learnt a lot from?
Uh, oh, um, I would say schools, my exams,
Mhm.
your results and what you get in school, in high school, does not dictate who you will be in the future.
Mm. Yes.
So know that, because you can be very successful.
My camera's doing it crazies. Okay.
You can still be successful. Your past does not define you.
That is just beautiful. my daughter's about to head into exams period, and she's heading into year 12 next year, which is all about getting into university. And there's so much pressure on the kids. You know, I didn't realize this, but they even want her to start year 12 work before year 12.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
like,
much
give the poor kids a break. Let them have a summer holiday and then they can start next year. But there's so much pressure on the kids. And I mean, there was probably in my day, maybe I was just a bit wild, but, you know, I mean, we could get jobs back then without a piece of paper. The kids, at least to get an interview at half of the decent jobs, need a piece of paper these years, you know. I do say I joke with my daughter because she's an A student, an A+, and she puts a lot of pressure on herself. I don't need to. She does it all on her own. She'll come home, got an A+, Mum. I go, not good enough. I expected a B.
I love that. I love that.
Right?
Oh,
She doesn't have
oh,
to get, I mean, I'm proud of her, but
yeah.
it's not about the A. I want to know, what did you learn?
Yeah.
And making the mistakes. I think
Yes.
that's as important for her to get an F or a not. They don't do Fs anymore. They're called UGs, ungradables.
Yes. Learn to fail and fail more, because it's through these failings that you learn
Yeah, definitely.
lessons that make you better.
All right. Sparkle question number 3, as we do everything in threes here in the Sparkle world, is what would be one of your best resources that have helped you along the way?
Person or resources. I'll tell you what, actually, YouTube. But the one person that if we're talking resources, yeah, I would say YouTube. The other thing would be, as a person, there's a few people that I do follow,
Yeah.
that I listen to. Dr. DiMartini, Wayne Dyer, Joe Dispenza, so many, even Tony Robbins, all these, experts in the field, because they all have very different ways of communicating. So YouTube's
Oh,
for,
YouTube. I pay for the premium subscription so I can turn my phone off and continue listening.
yeah,
I think I listen to something on YouTube every day.
yeah.
It is a great
And find
resource.
coaches, find
Yes.
people, find the experts to help you.
Yeah, we all hire. I'm not afraid. I mean, my last coach cost me $48,000. I've definitely seen results. And then therapists and psychologists and all the things as well.
Yes.
Definitely ask for help.
Ask for help, definitely.
Yeah.
Talk to someone. One of the best resources is see a psychologist or therapist.
Yeah, definitely.
Which,
All right,
if you need it.
Jackie, you know Ma wants me to ask this. You've got to finish this sentence.
Oh,
Hi, I'm Jackie, and I sparkle because.
hi, I'm Jackie. I sparkle because I love helping and serving people.
You do. Hands down, mic drop. Done. You do. You do. Seriously, lady, you're amazing at the way you just love to help people with their mind, understanding it, but then also allowing them to find what it is within themselves so they can help themselves. Because, you know, what is it? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? But when they're ready, you're there, you know?
Yeah.
When they're ready, you're there. And I can attest, we are so super lucky to have her working inside the Sparkle world. She has lots of other businesses and clients that Jackie works with, but our clients are really lucky because I pay Jackie to come and spend every week with them. And I am super grateful for you. One, for your friendship, and two, for what it is that you do for our amazing community. You're part of, one of those people that are helping me transform the lives of 33 million people is, surrounding myself by a small, tight few who are going to go out there and transform lots of lives. And you do that on a daily basis. And thank you. I am so grateful to have found you in my life and all the other friends that you've introduced me to. I've met my crazy rich Asian family that I didn't even know that I had. And you've really made me embrace my Asian heritage, which honestly, I didn't really know much about the Asian part of me, because my biological father left when I was really young and I never really knew. And learning about the culture and stuff like that, I've learned a lot. And Jackie, you have a YouTube channel. Why don't you share with the audience what your YouTube channel is that you share with your lovely friends?
Oh, actually, I think I don't have the link here, but if you search Jackie Ashley, I do have a few videos there. Does need extra videos as well. That's content that I'm working on.
Jackie, you're doing amazing things, and we'll definitely get you back on the show more regularly. I think the audience are throwing lots of purple hearts and sparkles and things in the chat. They're loving it. Mars got lots of purple hearts for you right there. Jackie, as always, great spending time with you. I mean, I think we would only go a few days without speaking with each other, to be totally honest. And
Yes.
my camera's decided it doesn't want to be happy with me today. But lucky this is a verbal podcast with the final result. It's really not that warm at the moment, but it is warming up. But I don't know why. My camera dies.
Sally, you're so hot. Camera's off.
Baby. Woo! Right? Oh, yes. Yes, that's what it is. It's me. I'm radiating all that
Sparkle
hot
lady.
sparkle energy.
That's right, that hot sparkle energy.
Oh, it must be all the new clothes. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, thank you everyone who stayed. We had lots of little eyeballs on us today watching us live. And for all of you on the replay, feel free to take a screenshot of where you're listening to this episode and tag myself and Jackie on social and let us know what your key takeaway is. And if you are on the podcast, leave us a review. It's ways for us to get our message out and help more people. Over on the Apple iTunes, I don't think it's called iTunes anymore. Maybe it's called Apple Podcast. But go and leave us head there now. Go to Apple, leave a review, and that way we can get out and serve more people and help more people here inside the Sparkle world. All right, guys, have a fabulous day. Now, Jackie, first off, I better do this. If people want to find out more about you, what's the best place? Where do you hang out the most on the socials?
JackieAshley.com, my website. I'm on IG as well, Jackie Ashley 1. I'm also on Facebook and I'm also on LinkedIn. So feel free to contact me.
Yes.
Send me a DM. Don't be shy. I won't bite.
No, she won't.
To hear from you.
Awesome. All right, guys. So if you've enjoyed today's episode, then I recommend that you subscribe to our channel, right? And go to sparkleclassacademy.com/calendar, and you can actually subscribe to the Google Calendar itself. And we try to keep up to date with a little ding ding message. And if you want to get reminders in Messenger whenever we go live for our podcast batching day, then you can go to go.freedomfunnelacademy.com/STWS, which stands for Straight Talk with Sally. Or if you're watching this on the live stream, then just scan that QR code that you see on screen. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie, for joining me today. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And we're going to dance this one out. Thanks, Jackie.
I will not bow down. Keep putting telling me off, I'm not gonna change my mind. You're headstrong forward, but this time around